Sergio Perez is mentally battered, according to Dr. Helmut Marko, who has not dismissed the ongoing rumours that Red Bull might replace the struggling Mexican driver within 2024. With Mercedes, McLaren and Ferrari closing the gap in 2024, Perez's poor form could potentially cost Red Bull the Constructors' World Championship. Let's have a look at the struggling Mexican situation in today's video, so don't go anywhere. Sergio Perez started the season strong with 4 podiums in his first 5 races, leading many to believe he had turned a corner. This performance secured him a new contract before the race in Montreal. But since then, the 34-year-old's form has gone downhill. Heading into Sunday's Grand Prix in Hungary, Perez has earned only 15 points in his last 6 race weekends and faces an immediate threat of losing his seat if his performances don't improve. Despite the 137-point gap to Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship standings, Red Bull's leadership team acknowledges the difficulty of Perez's task. Marko admitted that it will be difficult for anyone to team up with Max Verstappen, while discussing Perez's poor performance compared to his Red Bull teammate. Perez is currently facing the possibility of a mid-season sacking if his performances don't improve in Hungary and Belgium. "I'm not looking for a new Max because Max is unique," Marko told Grand Prix 247, "and it will be difficult for anyone to be his teammate. We have a situation where our second driver unfortunately isn't performing as he should. So we'll have an evaluation in the summer break of what we are going to do." Helmut Marko had some pointed words to describe his driver's struggle. He said, "With all the bad luck he's had, he, Perez, is mentally battered." When asked if Red Bull might actually terminate Perez's new contract if he is 100 points behind Verstappen by the summer break, Marko had this to say: "Almost all the top drivers have performance clauses in their contracts. Nothing is certain in Formula One." Marko has ominously hinted that the summer break will be crucial in assessing whether any changes will be made. The fact is that the Constructors' Championship is very important for the team and all employees, because the better we do there, the more bonus payments each individual employee will receive. That means that Sergio Perez has to deliver and is under pressure. 2009 Formula One world champion Jenson Button believes that Red Bull will be forced to drop Sergio Perez if he fails to score in the Hungarian Grand Prix. He has acknowledged Perez's predicament as concerning, and believes Red Bull should contemplate a change if he fails to deliver this weekend. He shared this opinion to Sky Sports F1, saying, "It's a massive issue. This Silverstone was a terrible weekend. It was unlucky in some ways as well. This isn't going to happen every race weekend, but for McLaren to be taking this many points out of them, it's big. He needs to be scoring some points at least. Even if he's not directly behind Max, they can't let it go on forever. I think in the next race, if he's not scoring points again soon enough, they've got to get him out of the car and put someone else in. It's tough. I know it's not a nice feeling for a driver, it's horrible. But for them, the championship is important." Sergio Perez is determined not to let reports about his future undermine his efforts to get his season back on track. "I know where I am in terms of contract and that sort of thing," he said. "I cannot let it be a distraction. I need to focus on the next 2 weekends, which are the priority, and together as a team, to get out of this difficult period." But that hasn't stopped others from commenting on his situation. Former Haas F1 team principal Gunther Steiner has suggested that there is a huge likelihood Sergio Perez could depart from Red Bull during the summer break if his performances fail to improve. He told the Red Flags podcast, "I give it a big chance that if he doesn't improve in the races before the summer break, after the summer break, we will maybe see somebody else in the car." When asked who should replace the Mexican, Steiner already had someone in mind. "The obvious candidate is Liam Lawson. He's there, he's ready to go. He did a good job last year. I just see Liam Lawson getting that seat if Checo does not do well in the next few races. I think the car is pretty good," Steiner continued. "Checo struggles at the moment. He finished second how many times this year? At the beginning of the season, quite a few. He's just in a struggle like Daniel Ricciardo had at McLaren with Lando Norris. He's just struggling to keep up. It's a very similar situation. Once you're down, it's difficult to get up again." Some of Perez's peers have also commented on the challenges facing the 6-time Grand Prix winner. Among them is Pierre Gasly, who was dropped mid-season by Red Bull and replaced by Alex Albon after a disappointing 12-race stretch in 2019. "Ultimately, his problem at the moment is he doesn't feel the car," Gasly said. "Whenever you feel strong with a car, you have, for whatever reason, a weekend off. Next weekend, you come back, you feel good. You put the strong laps in and you don't even think about it. but he just doesn't seem to be able to get the performance out of it. Whether it's coming from him or the team, I don't know. But there's clearly something that is missing at the moment between the two. Despite driving what is arguably the quickest car in F1 in 2024, Sergio Perez has been outscored by drivers in much less competitive machinery over his last 6 races. His performances have been notably less impressive compared to last year. While the Red Bull RB20 no longer holds a clear advantage over teams like McLaren, Ferrari and Mercedes, Max Verstappen has managed to win 3 of the 6 races, including Imola, in addition to a podium and 2 points finishes. In contrast, Perez has only achieved 3 low points finishes, 2 retirements and a 17th place finish in those same rounds. While Red Bull may manage being outscored by their expected rivals, there's another concerning aspect. Nico Hülkenberg has achieved impressive results with Haas recently. With 2 6th places in the last 2 races, Hülkenberg has actually outscored Perez by a point over the past 6 races, despite not driving for a leading team. To make matters worse for Perez, the Mexican driver is only 1 point ahead of Aston Martin's Lance Stroll. The AMR24 has been challenging to master this year, and results have been scarce for the team, who currently hold 5th place in the Constructors' Championship. If Red Bull decides to replace Perez, they have several alternatives waiting in the wings. Daniel Ricciardo, Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson are all options for Christian Horner and Marco. But for the next 2 races, the decision remains in the hands of the current driver. With a shortage of compelling options to pair with Max Verstappen and their car advantage diminishing, should Red Bull reconsider pursuing the driver they recently passed on? Since being turned down by Red Bull, Carlos Sainz has been stuck in indecision, with the tempting possibility of a Mercedes seat tempting him. Meanwhile, Perez's recent slump appears to be his worst mid-season dip yet at Red Bull. Red Bull and Perez are now facing severe consequences for this poor form, especially as Mercedes, Ferrari and McLaren have all had competitive cars capable of challenging Red Bull at different points this year. Red Bull continues to show hesitation in promoting Yuki Tsunoda to the senior team, but his Red Bull teammate Daniel Ricciardo could be considered if he can maintain strong performance until the summer break. Liam Lawson, who tested the 2024 Red Bull this week, is also in contention. However, there remains a standout candidate outside the Red Bull program, just as there has been since Lewis Hamilton opted to leave Mercedes for Sainz's Ferrari seat. A solid Verstappen-Sainz lineup at Red Bull would allow Red Bull Racing the flexibility to return to being a junior team, where they can experiment with all rookie lineups, knowing that their main team is strong and stable. Going up against Verstappen is always a tall order for any driver, as it can potentially damage their reputation within front-running teams permanently. But Sainz would be better prepared than any driver since Ricciardo's departure. It would also be in Red Bull's best interest to ensure their partnership succeeds. An unfortunate fallout between teammates could be the worst-case scenario, potentially leading to a controversy that could severely impact Red Bull. Apart from this issue, there's also buzz about Max Verstappen possibly making a surprising move to Mercedes next year. But Red Bull F1 consultant Marco emphasizes that this isn't the team's top priority right now. When asked if Mercedes' strong performance this season might convince Verstappen to trigger an exit clause and leave, he told the Österreich newspaper, If, that's all speculation. But what is normal about this season? We're experiencing such ups and downs that we're sometimes at a loss. Our focus is on winning the World Championship and making sure Perez gets back to normal form. If you were in Red Bull's shoes, are you keeping Sergio Perez? Are you sacking him? Tell us what you would do in the comments section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.